We're watching critics saying that was a cheap shot. Your reaction, Kristin?
Well, yeah, I mean, most experts agree that we are not heading for a recession, Liz, but these folks in the mainstream media have been pushing this narrative nearly every single day. We have a 3.7% unemployment rate right now. That's near a record low. We're seeing wage gains. We're seeing growing consumer confidence, but many left-wingers in the media, these talking heads, these analysts and journalists, it seems would like to see an economic downturn to try and drive Trump out of office. Bill Maher said flagrantly that he would love a recession to get rid of Trump. NBC's Richard Engel said that the short-term pain of a recession is better than the long-term devastation of Trump. But, hoping for the suffering of Americans to get your own party in the White House is vile. I will say, though, Liz, this narrative from the media does expose just how vulnerable the Democrats are when it comes to the economy, because it seems that a recession is the only thing they have to try and undercut the Republicans' success when it comes to this issue. But in reality, it seems to me that a recession will only come about in the short term if the Democrats do win big in 2020 and try and implement their socialist agenda, because, of course, this would just raise taxes, drive up regulations, and nationalize large swaths of the economy.
You know, we tracked it. The headlines about calling for a recession started practically the day after the president was elected. So we certainly saw the same headlines a year ago coming out of MSNBC, CNN, The Economist, the Financial Times, the New York Times, Yahoo Finance, Motley Crue, everybody. And when we tracked what the headlines came out, what people were saying during the Obama administration, they were talking about a slowdown. Nobody was really stamping their feet about recession. Watch this indicator for clues to recession. It's not signaling one now. It's the Conference Board and the University of Michigan's Consumer Sentiment Index. It's consumer confidence. For the Conference Board, it's at record historic highs at levels not seen since about the dot-com era in 2000. That's what's going on. We have pretty decent consumer confidence, Kristin.
That's right, Liz. At the same time, though, I think we need to be very careful with the media's obsession over recession. You know, economists say that it is possible to talk ourselves into a recession, but the economic indicators are good. And you are absolutely right that the narrative here becomes flagrant when you compare the coverage of the economy during the Obama years to the Trump years. During the Obama years, the media kept promoting the idea that we were in the midst of a recovery, and now they just ignore the good news and overhype the bad news because Trump is in office.
Biden said summer recovery in 2010. We know the five incumbents lost when there was a downturn: Taft, Hoover, Ford, Carter, and George H.W. Bush. We're not in a downturn. We're not in a recession right now. The president dismissed his potential Republican primary challengers. Can you believe it? He said, I'm at 94% of approval in the Republican Party. I have three stooges running against me. He's talking Mark Sanford, Joe Walsh, and Bill Weld. But I want to get to this. Joe Biden says he prefers a running mate who's a woman, telling the Washington Post, I prefer someone who is of color, a different gender, someone who's on the same page as me. Watch this whopper of a doozy mistake that Joe Biden made today talking about Japan. Listen to this.
Look what's going on in Japan. Japan is in a position where traditionally women are as well educated as men, but the tradition was once they had a child, they were to drop out of the job market because they are xenophobic, because they do not want to invite other people from outside their country to come in and make up the workforce. They have fewer workers than they have a need for workers. And so what they've done is they've decided to encourage women to stay in the job market.
Okay, he said because Japan's xenophobic. That's Joe Biden.
Yeah, you know, Liz, the more I hear from Joe Biden, the more I think that perhaps his first day on the campaign trail was his best day. It seems that the more he is in front of voters, the more his campaign just flounders. He's constantly dealing with brain freezes and gaffes. The other weekend, he said that it was great to be in Vermont while he was, in fact, in New Hampshire. So I've said from the beginning that I think Biden is the best chance Democrats have of beating Donald Trump. But now it seems like he might not even make it through this primary because he just keeps putting his foot in his mouth.
Kristin Tate, thank you so much.